All right, it is time for another polling update here in the state of Texas for 2024, and it is looking good for Donald Trump and Ted Cruz. Let's check this out from the Texas scorecard. New poll shows Trump, Ted Cruz lead their Democrat opponents. It says a new poll released Wednesday shows former President Trump and current U.S. Senator Ted Cruz leading their respective Democrat opponents among Texas' likely voters. The poll conducted by the University of Texas and the Texas Politics Project shows a five-way ballot. In a five-way ballot, Trump holds a 9-point lead, 45 to 36% over crooked Joe Biden. Other candidates on the trial ballot included RFK Jr., Cornel West, and Jill Stein. In a head-to-head, Trump holds an 8-point lead over Joe Biden. It's great news. Now check this out. Likely voters in Texas were also asked about the U.S. Senate race between Ted Cruz and his Democrat challenger, Colin Allred. The results show that Ted Cruz leads Allred 46 to 33%, a whopping 13 percentage point lead. A previous poll from the Texas Hispanic Policy Foundation showed Cruz leading Allred by 5 percentage points, 46 to 41. The poll also asked voters for their approval of various Texas officials. Greg Abbott, 55% approval rating. Dan Patrick, 44%, AG Ken Paxton, 41%, and House Speaker, 27%. Not surprised there. He is trash. Texas voters were also asked about the most important problem facing the state, and shocker here, 39% of voters responded saying immigration and border security is the top problem facing the state. I'm not surprised at all by that. It's the number one issue for me as well. 15% said the economy and inflation, and 10% responded that political corruption and leadership is the most important problem. Yeah, no shocker there that immigration is the top problem, which is why I think that you're going to see, which is why I think Greg Abbott won. He beat the heck out of Beto Jumping Jack Flap in 2022, and which is why I think Donald Trump and Ted Cruz are going to clobber crooked Joe Biden and Colin Allred. Let's check out the numbers here on RCP. In a five-way race, like I said, this poll had Trump up by 9 points, 45 to 36, which is also in line with the average. The RCP average has Trump ahead by 9.4% in a five-way race. That's actually really good. I'm not surprised by that, and I think that is what is going to happen here in the state of Texas, but we'll get to that in a second. If you just do a two-way race between crooked Joe Biden and Trump, the RCP average is roughly the same at 9.3%, and he's up 48 to 40 right now in the most recent poll. He beat Hillary Clinton by 9% in 2016. He beat Joe Biden by 6% in 2020, and for various reasons, I think that was a little bit closer, but Trump did receive nearly 6 million votes, a record for any president in Texas history, from my understanding. And turnout was extremely high, but now we have a record for Joe Biden, with Trump and Joe Biden to compare it to. And people here in Texas, with the top issue being immigration, I think we're going to see a blowout for Donald Trump against Joe Biden. The polling has been consistent. If you look at all the way going back to September, it's anywhere from 7 to 11%, which is what I think is likely to happen. I'm guessing about 8 to 10%. He'll win by about 1 million votes or so, maybe a little less, but it's going to be a pretty easy victory for Trump here in the state. Large part too because of what we had under Trump with the secure border here in Texas. Inflation was low. Those two things alone are going to propel him to victory, and what Joe Biden has not been able to do in his term so far. Nothing's going to change. It's not going to get any better. But let's go to the Senate race. RCP has him up by 8.2% on average, and I'm not sure if it's going to be a 13% victory for Ted Cruz. It'll be a lot closer than that, in my opinion. I'm thinking maybe 6 to 7% victory for Ted Cruz, which is solid. But Ted Cruz is a very polarizing figure, and so is Trump. But I think you have a lot of people that just don't like Ted Cruz in general, and they're going to come out and vote against him. That's just the way it is. He's very popular, but he's also really disliked. If we go back to the average, he's up anywhere from 2% to 16% in the polling, but 13% recently is oh, that's pretty impressive. Now we go back to 2018. Yeah, that race was pretty close. He faced a very tough challenger in Jumpin' Jack Flap, aka Beto O'Rourke, only winning by 2.6 percentage points. The thing is, Greg Abbott won his election by over 1 million votes, about 13% or so, which is why I wasn't worried about the state going blue. People were basing it off of that one race between Ted Cruz and Jumpin' Jack Flap, saying, look what happened here. Ted Cruz almost lost his race, but they didn't talk about anything else. They didn't talk about the fact that Greg Abbott won by 13 percentage points, over 1 million votes. And if you go back to April of 2018, in that race, he was only up by 3%. So for him to be up by 13% right now is pretty remarkable. Like I said, I don't know if it's going to be that big of a victory. I'm thinking it's going to be more in line of what they expected to be in 2018. About this right here says 6.8%. I don't think it would be as close as what happened with Jumpin' Jack Flap, aka Beto. And Ted Cruz didn't take that race very seriously until the last 3 months or so, which was a mistake on his part because he almost lost his seat. He didn't take him as a serious threat, but he should have. Beto campaigned very well. He was brainwashing people, had a lot of brainwashed morons voting for him. He raised a ton of money, 70 or 80 million dollars. He had Hollywood behind him. The media was behind him. But Ted Cruz had grassroots. He had $40 million raised way less than Jumpin' Jack Flap, but he still pulled off the victory because people like myself and others came out there and propelled him to victory, and we have to come back and do the same thing this time. Cornyn won even though he was a rhino, he won his race in 2020 by 1 million votes because he's not as polarizing as Ted Cruz. And it's not going to be as easy for him to beat Colin Allred because he's going to have a lot of dark money coming in, backing him. A lot of, I guarantee you're going to see Soros come after Ted Cruz and a lot of Hollywood, money from New York and California coming in to support Allred, but to try to unseat Ted Cruz. But I think that in the end, Ted Cruz will pull off the victory by about 6 to 7 percentage points. My opinion, we'll see how the polling looks a little bit closer to the election, summertime, July, then the early fall in September. We'll see how it looks and we get a clearer picture, but I think Trump is going to win by 8 to 10%, Ted Cruz about 6 to 7, and you'll see the state stay safe, Red. But I'm going to leave it right there. I just want to give you a quick update on the polling. It looks good for the state of Texas. Like and subscribe. See you next time. Thank you. Take care.